Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Justine Podcast. And today, as you've seen from the title, we're going to be talking about frequency. The reason why I want to talk about this episode, or had this episode today and talk about this today, is because I had a conversation probably like earlier this week or last week, some shit. Time runs together for me these days. I don't know. But either way, I had a conversation and the motherfucker was talking about frequencies, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, bro, because motherfuckers don't even be on the right frequency. So I was like, bro, what's frequency? Well, it's the vibration. I said, all right, so what's vibration? Frequency, nigga. Like when you fucking with somebody and y'all on the same type time. So I was like, but like, what is frequency though? Like you're giving me descriptions of frequency, but you're giving me descriptions of something you should be defining right now. You feel me? And I'm like, why aren't you giving me a definition of what frequency is? He was like, what you mean, bro? I'm not getting what you're trying to say. I was like, what I'm trying to say is, why are you not telling me what frequency means, but yet you're telling me that somebody can be on the same frequency or people need to be on the same frequency? So I'm like, what exactly does that mean? He was like, what, you trying to be funny? Nah, nigga, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to understand, bro. You telling me that people got to be on the same frequency. So what does frequency mean? I can't tell you that people should be in line with something if I can't even tell you what that thing is that they're supposed to be in line with. Like, you feel me? Because if I say, yo, same frequency, and I'm like, yo, but I'm telling you, it's vibration, then we're not on the same frequency. We're on vibration. Like, so we talking about vibration now. Nah, we talking about frequency. It's all the same thing. It's not all the same thing. It's not on the same thing. And this is a large reason why a lot of motherfuckers walk into certain shit blindly following a motherfucker, and they end up regurgitating or uh utilizing terminology and ideologies that really aren't in alignment with what they're supposed to be talking about. So because of that, it prompted me to want to talk about frequency today, because frequency, and we're going to bring it into, it being woke shit. And I want to talk about being woke too, because y'all fucked around and let y'all let them co-op the shit, destroy it, and then now it seems like it's a motherfucking pseudoscience and shit. Like we just wilding. You feel me? But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But frequency, we're gonna break it down. Start off from a physics perspective, and then real world perspective, even just from the perspective of how it's defined and shit, and keep it simple. You feel me? And I want this to be talked about because I hear people talking about, fuck with me when you got to get on the right frequency. And it makes people believe that, like, this is my perspective just from the people that I talk to, because I can only understand it how you're presenting it. Whether they knew how to articulate with their message or what they were saying, I don't know. But I can only, evaluate it based off the articulation. But when it came to, everybody talking about frequency, they think it's like a high vibration. And I'm like, okay, so what does high vibration actually mean? You feel what I'm saying? I need to know like what y'all really think high vibration is. Is it something that's like makes you smarter than people? Is it something that makes you more connected? What exactly is high vibration? You feel what I'm saying? And because a lot of people don't really, well, high vibration, high frequency and shit like that, but it all goes back to what is the definition of it. You feel what I'm saying? So that's what I want to talk about, because I want us to be in alignment. Because when I tell people that you're not in my frequency, they be thinking I'm trying to disrespect them or call them stupid or some shit like that. It's like, no, y'all weird. No, you're not in my frequency, because frequency is the rate of occurrence. Frequency is cycles. It's the rate of occurrence. You're not in my cycle. You're not in my rate of occurrence. The same shit in my life doesn't apply to your life. Duh. You want it to be, but it can't. You feel me? And because a lot of people are wrapped up in that, they misunderstand that frequency has nothing to do with intelligence. Frequency has nothing to do with I guess, well, I said intelligence, whatever synonyms you can put in that, because I'm not gonna repeat the same thing. But that's what we tie frequency to. Oh, you trying to say I'm not smart as you? Mm-mm. I literally told a woman one time, I said, yo, we're not on the same frequency. You trying to call me stupid? If I was gonna call you stupid, I would have called you stupid. But no, I wasn't trying to call you stupid. I was saying we're not on the same frequency. We are not on the same rate of occurrence for life. but not in the same cycles of life. Now, when it comes to oppressive shit, the connection of who we are is, being black people, then that's a different frequency. We're on a different rate of occurrence for that. You feel what I'm saying? But for the most part, our rate of occurrence is our frequency. What things we experience consistently, right? That's our frequency. And before we dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram, _scene_. Be sure to check out my website at IamJustSeen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, sponsor the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, sponsor the podcast, you can do so by clicking the description. My bad. You can do that by clicking the description and link of description of your podcast, not the episode, but the podcast itself. The Vibes Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And as always, that's that for this and that's this for that. So we're gonna take a quick break and we're gonna come back and we're gonna dive into frequency. Fuck it, we just call it by the definition. We're gonna come back and we're gonna dive into frequency, the rate of occurrence. And don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So For Real series to your library? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. All right. Welcome back. We live. So, like I was saying, talking to the homie about frequency and shit, and then motherfucker, I don't know why motherfuckers think like when they tell me some shit that I automatically supposed to this is one of the things that I tell y'all hear me talk about it all the time. The reason why I know so much and I'm so well versed in shit is for reasons like this. So motherfucker can't just tell me something and I'm like, okay, you sound good. Nah, bro, you got to tell me why you say that shit. You feel me? And tying it into this frequency shit, a lot of motherfuckers, when they think they're on a certain frequency, they don't like to be told they're not, or they don't like to be asked about the frequency. What is it? You feel me? Nah, nigga, because fuck with me. You on my frequency. We too high up here. Now, motherfuckers don't really know what frequency is. Frequency is the rate of occurrence. And if we understand frequency and as it relates to vibration is how something continually moves from crest to trough, right? So low amplitude to high amplitude, or the base of a wave to the height of the wave. That's the amplitude, right, of the thing. But the vibration is the occurrence as it's moving to create the wave, right? The frequency is how that wave moves from start to start. You feel what I'm saying? So technically vibration is different, but it is very similar. That's why I tell y'all, stop using synonyms for shit because it fucks with your understanding. Frequency and vibration are not the same thing, but they're used interchangeably. And because they're used interchangeably without proper understanding either way, how do you going to use something you describing? Motherfuckers ain't even having a definition for what they're using interchangeably. They're describing it. But because they're using a description, that's why they're using it interchangeably. When you have a definition, sometimes only that word works. For example, let's use the words jargon and vernacular. Both of these words are associated with the term, we'll say jargon, vernacular, and lexicon. All three of these words are associated with vocabulary of words. All three of these words are associated with the abundance of understanding of words in some way, shape, or form, but they're all used a little bit different. Your lexicon is your vocabulary. It's the amount of words you have in your arsenal that you thoroughly understand. That's your lexicon, right? Jargon are the words associated with a specific niche, right? So I have a forensic science jargon. I have a master in the market jargon, right? Your vernacular is the way in which you speak these certain words. But you have people using all three of these words potentially interchangeably. And with just reason, it could be understood why. But until you know the definition, then you know, oh, you can't use these interchangeably because they're technically not the same word. You feel what I'm saying? So when we use it on another side, like frequency and vibration and all of this, they're different words for reasons. You feel what I'm saying? So when we make things synonymous, it takes away from the efficacy of the definition of what it really is. You walking with me? So when we're talking about frequency, when we're talking about frequency of being a human, I ask people like, yo, they be like, what frequency are you on? And all of this. They think when it comes to frequencies with crown chakras and shit, like, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. If y'all been following me for this long, I've broken down a lot of shit, spiritual shit, esoteric shit, scientific shit. So it's gonna make sense what I'm saying. But my crown chakra is open and viable, right? People don't know that because they assume that a crown chakra frequency makes you an androgynous being who doesn't use profanity, who can be a breatharian, who doesn't need to eat, and you could just take in your nutrients with a deep breath and all this other shit, and you're such a mystical sage, and you don't cuss, and you don't do all these things. Fuck y'all. That's not what it means to have an open crown chakra. An open crown chakra means that you understand it's a whole level. I break down in Sofra 3, but when you have an open crown chakra, that means that healthily you are able to connect to things rather than attach to things. And you are associated with them from all the chakras down, right? So when you're on a crown consciousness frequency, that does not necessarily mean that your vibration is so high that people can't touch you. It means that your rate of occurrence for connecting rather than attaching is high, right? We know that Christ consciousness is Messiah energy. Messiah energy is the Messiah. Messiah. We can go back all day long with that, right? You can look at Sofra 3. You can check out some of my previous episodes to understand what I mean by that. And I might even do an episode on Messiah energy. We'll see. But when these things are in alignment, right, the rate of occurrence associated with this particular chakra. So you have to ask yourself, what is this chakra blocked by, or what does it govern? What does it actually do, right? Because we think Christ consciousness means I'm attuned to the world. I'm all knowing, all seeing. I'm such a high frequency. I can't meddle with the humans. That lets you know right now that your shit is ego based and not really reality based, because when you get to Christ consciousness, you can fuck with more people. That's the paradox. Whenever I see somebody, especially since we're talking about frequency, whenever I see somebody say that I done vibrated so much that I can't fuck with nobody, that means you vibrated backwards, homie. Bruh, sis, all y'all, that means you vibrated backwards, because when you get to that certain Christ consciousness frequency, you can literally fuck with everybody on equal levels, right? This is something that you have to understand about frequency and where frequency is. It's the rate of occurrence, right? Some of us have a rate of occurrence that is in alignment with other people's rates of occurrence. Example, your rate of occurrence, your frequency could be simple as going to the club every night. Well, not every night, because ain't no clubs open, I hope. But going to the club every weekend, right? Every weekend, all weekend. That's your frequency. That's your frequency. This rate of occurrence, right, from start to start, as the cycle moves from start to start, because the frequency is measured in hertz. Hertz is something per cycle, right? So literally from start to start, right? That's your frequency. So my frequency is every weekend I go to the club all weekend, right? If I want a particular woman who's in alignment with that frequency, guess where I'm gonna be every weekend, all weekend, right? So much so I've done this when um when I was young. Not young, because experience makes me think I'm older than I am, but I'm really not. Um, so back when I was in like my 20s, like mid 20s, early 20s, somewhere around there, um, I used to there was this woman that I knew. There was this woman that I knew. She used to go to the club all the time. We went to the same club, and the frequency was, it was like, man, she gonna be here tonight on Saturday. I'm gonna get her number tonight, because I see her here all the time. I see her every time I come in here. I don't come in here every night, but every night that I come in here, I see her. So I'm going to assume that she comes in here when I come in here, right? Our frequency is aligned. We always see each other. You feel what I'm saying? Our rate of occurrence for this club, for this particular activity, for this particular mentality is here. right? This is our frequency. So when we in this space, now the frequencies have to align it differently. So the frequency first is aligned with us being in the club. Now, are we on the same mental level? Same, you know what I'm saying? Like as far as how we dress in a certain way, how we're looking a certain way, how we drinks that we order, all of this. A lot of this shit ties into frequency. Your rate of occurrence, right? Which creates the cycle, the rate of occurrence. The cycles in your lives, the cycles in our lives are our frequencies. Okay. So I ended up getting her number and shit. And then after getting her number and everything, we vibed and we talked. And then after that, it was just, it dubbed out. The point that I'm making was that even after we stopped talking, we would still see each other in the club. Same nights. So it's like this was our frequency. And we would still look at each other, still laugh. We just, you know what I'm saying? You ain't hit me up. You ain't hit me up, motherfucker. Phones work both ways. Shit. You feel me? But that was our frequency. Now, when we look at frequency and then we talk about high vibrational thoughts and we talk about all of this, like how when we tie high vibrational thoughts and high frequencies and we talk about it being high and we started making it in a hierarchical system, as opposed to understanding that you're consistently thinking about the same thing faster. That's all. So when we have a high vibrational thought, vibration, as it associates to frequency, as frequency speeds up, vibration increases. No. I said that backwards. My bad. As frequency increases, um, vibration decreases because the speed of frequency creates a line. In essence. So frequency starts off with waves, but as frequency speeds up so fast, it eventually gets to a point where it doesn't look like anything is happening, right? So vibration actually decreases the higher the frequency goes. So when people say we vibing, but we on the same frequency, you can't. You can't be at a high frequency and like it's gonna sound like a paradox, but when you have a high frequency, you're vibrating low. You feel me? Because the frequency is so fast that there is no vibration. Vibration is a form of movement. It's really a form of sound, but vibration is more so a form of movement. When something is vibrating, there is a frequency that allows it to do that. You feel what I'm saying? And the faster the frequency, the lower the vibration because it just, you ever looked at your phone? When your phone alarm goes off, right? And you have it on vibrate, it doesn't go zzz, 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 zzz. Well, it does. But when your phone holds a long vibration, it goes zzz, all the way across, right? There's no interruption in that. You're not seeing the interruptions, right? Because you're not seeing the interruptions, that means the frequency is too high for you to catch the interruptions in between the vibrations. Now, when your alarm goes zzz, 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 that's a different type of vibration. There's no break in the vibration, which means that frequency is slower because it allows you to catch both the high and the low, the crest and the trough in between that. Okay? That was just a quick tangent, nerd shit, but bringing it back. When we look at our frequencies as people, we don't understand how many frequencies we actually have in our lives. So we have an overall frequency, which is us as a human. Do we vibrate the same way human wise? No, you can't. You know why? Because all the subsidiary vibrations that we have on the inside, the little bullshit that we vibrate with, you feel me? It takes away the react. Like there's people who vibrate to anime, right? There's people who vibrate to music videos. There's people who vibrate to only trap music. There's people who vibrate to certain things. Their frequency is linked to certain things, right? I don't want to use vibrate. I want to use frequency because I know I don't. I want to make sure I stick to what I said about interchangeably and shit, right? So their frequencies are the same. There's people whose frequency is anime. They're on the same frequency as people whose frequency is anime because the rate of occurrence is I'm involved with this. So much so that it's in my head. I think about this. I think about episodes. I think about shows. I laugh at certain shit about it. That's a part of the frequency. The rate of occurrence for my mind. Now we're going a step deeper, right? Some people's frequency is only sports. Some people's frequency is only fucking science. Some people's frequency is only one thing. Like when I talk to people and they ask me, like this ties into why the podcast is called the Justine Podcast. And they're like, yo, what don't you do? Or what you can't like, no, I'm tapped into everything because I choose to have a frequency that allows me to be involved with everything. I can maneuver in whatever world I want. I can go maneuver with the hood niggas and the trappers and the gangsters and the killers. I can go. I am of that frequency. I can go maneuver with the ladies, men, the motherfuckers who's gonna go to the club and get some girls. I can maneuver in that. You feel me? I can maneuver in the laid back motherfuckers who stay the fuck out the way. I can maneuver in that. You feel me? I have a frequency. I'm in so many multiple frequencies because my overall frequency allows me to be in the frequencies that I can be in at a higher rate of occurrence, which means I involve myself more with this. Here's where I'm going with that. Because a lot of people don't be in the frequency and try to come to the frequency. When the conscious community shit popped off, I ain't gonna hold you. I loved it because I was like, yes, man, my people, they finally realizing we can be smart and it's okay, bro. Like, you feel me? So I was having some beautiful conversations with people, like, you know what I'm saying? Sisters wanting to build, brothers wanting to build, everybody trying to grow and shit. And then I realized that our frequencies are not the same, right? There's a difference, but there's a different frequency when you're in something than when you want to be in something. Whether you can look at that thing and say, okay, we're at the same venue, it doesn't matter. We're in the same space, or we want to be in the same space. Are you in the same space? Because when you get in this space, can you function? Can you maneuver? When I was in undergrad, I used to have homies like, yo, invite me to one of them college parties. Fuck no. Fuck no. Fuck no. Because y'all are going to get us kicked out. I know because I know our frequency. I know our frequency so well that when I was in college watching the party hops and you feel me, I was looking like, yo, my niggas will fight the Kappas, bro. You feel me? I grew up Crip affiliated. Some of my closest friends, they ended up turning Bloods or whatever, becoming Bloods, whatever. But we was found before the affiliations and the shit like that. So we was, we have that respect. But because of that, I understand how they get down. I'm like, yo, they'll G check every Kappa in this motherfucker, not realizing they not throwing up blood, bro. They throwing up Kappa. Nah, nigga, fuck that. Why these niggas wearing red with these punk ass candy canes? I said, wow, I can't bring y'all here. Frequencies are different. The frequencies are totally different. And the frequencies there, I have to respect the frequency of my homie. Now, a lot of people say you change or you're losing yourself and shit when you're in frequencies that clash with each other. I mentioned in college because this was like I was on two different frequencies. I came into college on one frequency and started developing another, but I was able to function in college largely because I still had another frequency. I fuck with the nerds and the scholars and the thinkers and the people that had regular deep conversations about other shit. I fuck with them on a regular basis. And then you know what I mean? And I still fuck with the hood niggas. I still fuck with the other people. Cause it's like, yo, you can fit in when your frequency is right and you know the rate of occurrence of what's going on. So it was one of those things like when I first get to college, it's like they can only see the hood side because their frequency, because we're merged differently. You feel me? They can't fathom that you can be smart and that. You feel me? It's different. But then my hood people is like, bro, the streets ain't for you. You built for college. You feel me? It ain't like they called me a bitch or nothing and kept me out. You know what I'm saying? Because I still jumped off the porch and did other shit, but they just said, we're not gonna let you stay here. If anybody gonna get out, this motherfucker's gonna be you. You feel me? We all ultimately got out, but you feel me? At the end of the day, it's what it boils down to. You feel me? So those frequencies that allow me to start to be the different frequencies that I allow myself to engage myself in are allow me to become a chameleon. I've been able to maneuver through different frequencies all my life, but being conscious of a frequency and the frequency that I'm involving myself with, it changes. So when we look at relationships, and I know that was a different transition, but when we look at relationships, right? Relationships are about frequency. Relationships are about frequency, period, right? But the thing about frequency is that the relationship is your frequency with the sole person. This is why I don't get how motherfuckers can be polygamous, bro. I'm sorry. This is why I say polygamy is for the carnal, monogamy is for the divine. Because to be on multiple frequencies, like I don't know, for me, that just makes me feel like I lose my shit. That's just me. I can't do it. I'm not gonna try. Only reason why I don't think I can do it is because when I did it as a kid, when I didn't have girlfriends, but I was just dealing with multiple women, I didn't have a connection to them. I didn't have a commitment. I didn't have an attachment. I was literally bouncing around fucking them. I feel personally that's the only way that's viable. That's the only way polygamy is viable because then when I'm actually intentional, one of y'all is going to be closer to me than the other. One of y'all is going to pique my interest more than the other. Why do I know that? Because when I was out here hoeing, there was women who had ranks. It's like I'm fucking with her more than I fuck with her because she do this, because she do this, because our frequencies align more, which means on the inside we have more frequencies that work. You feel what I'm saying? I remember I was dealing with this woman who she tried to watch Dragon Ball Z. She said, "Oh, I just wanted to get into your world. Why do you don't even know why I watch it." You feel me? You feel me? She was like, "Why you still watch cartoons?" I said, "Cause it's a message and everything." You feel me? She like, "Ain't no man." I said, "It's a message and everything." She said, "I'm gonna watch it." So she watched it. She said, "I just can't get into it. It's not meant for you to get into it. I watched this because there's a message in it. So much so, there's a message in it. Maybe the creators created their own individual message, but there's a message that I see that I pertain to me from the whole season, from the whole show, Dragon Ball Z. Like it really just Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super, but Dragon Ball Z, there's a whole message in the motherfucker, right?" So she's asking me like, "Well, what is the message? Because all I hear him do is scream and motherfucking charge up." I said, "Well, you got to look at the bigger pictures. For one, you have to start from the beginning, go all the way to the end. You got to see all of the sagas. If you're not gonna make it through the end, you're not gonna see what I'm talking about." But I give you a gist. For example, I said when Goku finally became Super Saiyan, right? And again, this ties to frequency. What I'm about to say, it ties to frequency. So I was like, when Goku became Super Saiyan for the first time, it was an accident, but he was fighting Frieza. He became Super Saiyan because he got angry about, well, Frieza killed Krillin and he made him mad and shit. He snapped, became Super Saiyan. After he became Super Saiyan, he realized the power and he practiced the power that he just harnessed. He didn't just use it for that moment and then say, "Fuck it, I can't do this again. I don't know how I did it," and let it go. He lived on a planet. It was like the Metamorphosis planet or some shit like that. This is where he learned instant transmission. But he lived on this planet and he actually healed himself because he was just fighting Frieza and shit. He healed, recovered, and then he learned the instant transmission, but then he learned how to harness and use the Super Saiyan power in between time so he can access it at will. That's the first point, which segues into the next saga. That's just the Frieza saga. It segues into the Cell saga of how Goku not only mastered the Super Saiyan, but he taught his son how to become a Super Saiyan and go beyond him. You dig what I'm saying? Just from those 2 points right there alone, there's a different understanding that I get out of that. As a man, once you find your gift and you understand who the fuck you are and you tap into your inner essence and you evolve into your truest self, then you teach your son how to do that and take, or your children and your offspring, your next generation, and go above and beyond that. Explain that to this person. And they're like, "Wow, I would have never got that out of it." I know. You know why? Because we're not on the same frequency. I intentionally watch certain things. I intentionally extract certain things out of any media I consume. I don't just watch it to entertain myself. There's something that I'm going to get out of this. There's some way that I can piece this together to apply to myself. Nothing in this world. My frequency is like this. Anything that I engage in, I'm learning something from it. Anything that I engage in, it's going to make me better. It's going to make me grow. I don't just waste my time watching shit. If I can just waste my time watching shit, then at that point, I need to leave that shit alone. For example, we used to watch Bad Girls Club in undergrad because all the girls was watching Bad Girls Club. We was always around them. So it was like the ladies be watching Bad Girls Club. We pull up into the suite or whatever. Hey, let's turn Bad Girls Club. We just want to be around the women. We don't give a fuck about Bad Girls Club. So when we were no longer fucking with those women, we didn't give a fuck about Bad Girls Club because we really weren't on that frequency. We were on a frequency to fuck with these humans. And these are the humans these humans are actively watching this right now. So we gonna fuck with this for now until we can get the real frequency that we in. The reason why I'm saying that and I mention that part is because in the frequencies, you have your ultimate frequency, what I'm gonna say, right? This is your essence. Your ultimate frequency is your essence, right? That is all of the things that make you you. That's your natural frequency. Now, within it, we have frequencies that we merge with along the way, right? Because there's little things as we develop our personality, as we develop our character, there's little things that help make us find frequencies that we can sit in. You feel me? I had a phase of my life where I was in the yo-yos. I was a beast too. I used to do the sleeper, the rock, the cradle, the motherfucking when Omega was popping. I got me a butterfly Omega yo-yo. It was red. I'll never forget it. Got that shit for Christmas. It was my eighth. I was 8 years old when I got that. I loved that yo-yo. I had the The yo-yo with the brain in it, the Omega sleepers, man. We used to walk like I used to fuck shit up with the yo-yos, but I had a frequency, right? In this frequency, I dove into a deeper aspect where I learned the tricks. I learned certain things. I learned certain aspects because this is a part of the frequency around the world, right? Like there's basic shit that people know about, but there was shit that I just like I had to get a book for it. It's like, yo, bro, like you feel me? You'll know when you're in a frequency, the deeper you involve yourself into the shit. You feel what I'm saying? I'm gonna say that because some of us we are on frequencies that we ain't. How many of y'all have books from if y'all went to undergrad or whatever the case may be? How many of y'all have books from the major that you graduated in? You feel me? Sit with that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you majored in a degree, you graduated in and you don't have none of the resources outside of what you learned in that time frame and what was in that pocket. You didn't take home anything outside of it. You didn't keep any of your books. You didn't Not everybody, but a lot of people. So it's like, were you even in the frequency for your degree? Because when you're in the frequency of something, nothing can tell you not to grow yourself in this regard. You dig what I'm saying? Nothing can tell you not to grow yourself according to this, right? But when you are using this as a task, as a job, or whatever the case may be, eventually you don't give a fuck about it. You just show up. There's no frequency there. You have to be told to show up. You feel what I'm saying? It's a cliche, but a lot of motherfuckers say when you live in your passion, you don't need an alarm clock because it wakes you up. It do. It do. When your frequency is at a certain space, you ever been sitting? I ain't gonna say sitting because you was sleeping, but you went to sleep. But before you went to sleep, you kept telling yourself, yo, I gotta be up by this time. I gotta be up by this time. I gotta be up by this time. You kept uttering those words and you knew how important it was. It went down to your unconscious mind how important this was. And you actually woke up before the alarm went off. Your frequency was so high that it aligned with the time before your alarm clock could even go off while you were completely unconscious. So when I tell people the unconscious mind is alive and active, they be looking at me like I'm crazy. No, no, your unconscious mind is very active. There's several times when you have to be up before your alarm clock, and you will. Most motherfuckers won't get up because like, damn, man, why you ain't get up when I long enough? But that's because your body is like, and your surrounding, your energy knows, your frequency knows you got to be up by this time. So now I'm aligned with the right frequency to get your ass up. It's deep. It's deep. And like I said, that frequency came because the rate of occurrence, it had programmed so much that it stayed in your mind. It never left. Stayed in your mind. It never left. This is why I said that high frequency denotes low vibration. Low vibration is not necessarily bad. Low vibration is not necessarily bad. It means that you have succumbed to the frequency. You have succumbed to the frequency so much that you can no longer get a high vibration out of your low frequency. You ever grow so much that shit numb, it gets numb to you. You don't pay attention to it. A low vibrational sound is, think about what a low vibrational sound is. You can barely hear it. Why? Because the frequency is so high. You cut a light on right now, you hear it. Not only do you see the light, you hear the light, but you don't know that you're hearing it because you're so used to the frequency of what it is. It's a low vibrational hum. That's what they're calling it. They'll tell you that a light has a low vibrational hum to it. The frequency is so high because it is light. You feel me? Light sits above sound. You feel me? But it's so high that you can hear the light because it is a lower vibration. Sound is a lower vibration than light. Sound is a lower frequency than light. You feel me? Sound moves at 343 meters per second. Light moves at 3.0 times 10 to the 8 meters per second squared. Don't even get me on what thought moves at, but these are the points. And I'm glad I just mentioned thought because now we could tie this into to the episode as well. Thought moves significantly faster than light. Light moves at 3.0 times 10 to the 8 meters per second squared. 3.8, 3.0 times, well, it's really like 2.9 something, but 3.0 times 10 to the 8 meters per second squared. That's how fast light move, bro. Sis, all y'all. Thought moves faster than light. So now when we tie frequency to thought, This is why I had to go down this, set it up like this. But when we tie frequency to thought, what do we get? A rate of occurrence that is significantly above 3.0 times 10 to the 8 meters per second squared. We want people to be on the same vibration as that. We want people to fuck with me when you get on my frequency. I need you to be on my frequency. The frequency of thoughts, because our mind is where our thoughts reside. The frequency of thoughts is so fast that it moves faster than light. And we want people on the same frequency as us. And we don't even know what our frequency is right now. You dig what I'm saying? We don't even know what the frequency is right now, but the frequency of our thoughts. If thoughts move that fast, our frequency is the rate of occurrence. How often do our thoughts cycle through our heads? Because that determines our frequency. So now, entrepreneurs. This is why entrepreneurs think a certain way. This is why it's like they tell you to get in. If you want success in anything you do, follow this. Follow these three structures and apply it to everything that you do to be successful. Like mind, like soul, like body. That's the same frequency. Like mind, like soul, like body is the same frequency, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And it's going to put you in alignment with things that can really keep the frequency going faster. But what we try to do is we try to control it. We try to control it in such a way that we own or we know what frequency our thought is, and we're only going to move with frequencies that are slower or not quite on par. Now, again, this does not have anything to do with intelligence, but this has everything to do with the rate of occurrence of a specific thought or a specific thing. So when our frequency is in alignment with a certain thing, that means our rate of occurrence is the same across the board. Most familial structures I'm gonna show you how simple it is, but also how complex. Most familial structures are on the same frequency. Siblings operate on the same frequency because our rate of occurrence is relatively the same. Because your parenting is relatively the same. I talk about all the time. Parents be saying shit like, when it's not until you get your parents will tell you it's not until you have kids that you understand. And then when you have kids, you understand it's like, well, damn. And I hear people say all the time, your kids are going to treat you the same way you treated your parents. Your kids are going to be catalyzed according to the same parenting that catalyzed you. So if this input gave this output and I'm repeating this input, I have to expect that output again. It's not rocket science, it's frequency, right? So when we look at cycles, the generational cycles, your child grew up and repeated the exact same thing that you repeated. And you can't figure out why, because you parented them the same way that you were parented. They act like children just magically just do shit. No, they're catalyzed according to their parenting. And we are all parented under the same structure. So much so that our parenting structure runs back to slavery. We're parenting the same way we did when we were slaves, homie. The frequency didn't change. We're still on the same frequency of parenting. To where now, by 18 years old, it's encouraged. Like now, by 18, we're done with our kids by 18. Literally, that's a different frequency to have. That's a different frequency to have. And this frequency is causing the cycles to be repeated. We're like, yo, you are your daddy's son. You are your mother's daughter. You are your mother's son. You are your father's daughter. Because you repeat the exact same, because their parenting catalyzed the same shit. And now, if I don't leave my environment, if I don't leave the environment that I'm in, I'm still going to reproduce the same results. Follow me for a second. If my parenting was a structure in poverty and I didn't fix that, but I created kids and parented them under a poverty-stricken reality, I'm setting them up for the frequency to be successful in here or however you're going to vibe. So the children are going to repeat the same thing. They're going to become the parents that do exactly what their parents did because that's all they know. That's all they know. So the frequency remains the same. Now, here's where it becomes culture, because when we are all under the same circumstance, like, you ever paid attention to how, I know it's funny and it seems like it's a glitch, but it's like a glitch in the matrix. They be like, all black families had a specific couch. When I said specific couch, you probably can vision what couch I'm talking about. How? Or there's this little like a light blue clear plastic cup. Somehow we've all had one. You know what cup I'm talking about. You feel me? Um, Another one. This is an insult, and I don't necessarily, I don't, it's not even necessarily, I don't condone speaking this, but I'm using this for the reference of how things can travel and how frequency works. Because then we're gonna get back to the frequency of thought, right? How many have ever called somebody or been called an African booty scratcher? You got to ask yourself, who invented that? Who said that first? This is like, you feel me? I've known people, like, I lived in California, I lived in North Carolina, I lived in Philly, I lived out of the country, but we're just going to speak on America. In all of the places that I've lived, right? Everybody that I've interacted with has been called that at some point or has called somebody that. This was before social media. This was before the internet. Well, internet in this capacity. How did we have the collective to say this one insult to everybody? That's the power frequency of thought, because thought, the frequency of thought moves faster than light, but it moves slower than the ethers. The ethers are where we pull shit from. When the ethers slow down, it becomes a thought. When thought comes down, it becomes light. I'm gonna move it through the speeds, right? And this goes into um it's gonna seem like a paradox, because then when you get you get more high vibrational, the lower you go. But again, this is what I'm saying. When you use things interchangeably rather than the actual definition, you're using it totally wrong and it sounds right, and that's where the confusion comes in. And this now goes into, I'm gonna stay on point, but this goes into the throat chakra, where I say the throat chakra is blocked by lies you hear, lies you tell, whether you know it's a lie or not. A lie is as simple as using a definition for a word that is not supposed to be defined that way, or a synonym. Because now you're telling yourself that this is what this means and it doesn't. You feel what I'm saying? So when the ethers slow down, it becomes a thought. When the thought slows down, you ever heard somebody say, pull it out the ethers? That's what it is. This is what meditation is. This is what the manifestation is. When something slows down, it becomes a thought, the idea, whatever, and it pops up in your head. And you're like, that's why you ever notice this is why they use the light bulb. Like over a motherfucker's head, when they get a spur of enlightenment, bing, the light goes off. You know why the light goes off? Because the light goes off because what you're merging, right? This is why the third eye is so important. What you're doing right now is you're slowing down the ether thought, the ethereal moment, to a thought. Then you're slowing down the thought down to the light element. The light element, which is the third eye, that's when it becomes bing. Oh, now what can I do with this thought? You have now, and now here's where it becomes different, because your frequency has now elevated to the frequency of the ethers in order for you to even catch that thought. You see what I'm saying? It's different. So, but I don't want it to seem like it's some mystical shit. It's just the rate of occurrence. In the ethers, there's a specific rate of occurrence that happens so fast that it looks like nothing is happening. You have to slow the ethers down to say, hey, I want this particular thing. When I tell people, this is a perfect episode, and this is perfect for what I'm about to say right now. When I tell people, when it comes to the Soul Frail conversations, not even a Soul Frail conversation, when it comes to the Soul Frail series, people say, where did you get this information from? And I say, I pulled it from the ethers. I downloaded it. I unlocked it. However you want to look at it. I said, I got it from the ethers. I was at a frequency that met the frequency of the ethers in regards to masculinity. The reason why I was at such a high frequency for that, in order to be able to catch it out of the ethers and bring it down, is because my frequency my frequency was that high because I was raised without a father. And since accepting that moment and having to figure out life, in my mind, masculinity has never left. There's masculinity, manliness, all of that shit has always been in a frequency, has been at a high frequency within my mind. High frequency within my mind, whether it's in a background playing, I've always thought about, man, this man got to do this. What is a man? What is masculinity? What is this? What is this? I've always been in that frequency. So when it got to the point of me trying to heal myself, Like after my heartbreak or whatever going into, I said, I have to heal myself as a man is supposed to. Again, I'm in these frequencies of masculinity and all of this stuff. And then eventually it crossed paths with that actual thing in the ethers, and I was able to pull it and slow it down to a thought. As it came down to the thought, Sofra 1 came out. Sofra 1 came out, but it was like, they're like, well, you pulled it from, yes. And as I pulled it, I knew that I have to go certain places because the frequency that I went, I can't just write this information and say here, but I have to go to certain places where I can show you a relative piece. I can give you the detail that can make this, that you make you understand this principle, right? Now, that was Sofra 1. And then Sofra 2 and Sofra 3, people are like, yo, these are phenomenal pieces. Like, you really just make this. No, I didn't make this shit up. I pulled it out the ethers. There's nothing new under the sun, as they say. But when it comes to the ethers, it's like, yo, how did you get? Because it's a vibrational frequency. It's a frequency you have to be on. When I tell people there's no masculinity in this world, that's because there's no frequency for it. You know how high my frequency had to be to go to the ethers to even get a definition for spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction? Nobody's ever heard that. Nobody's ever said that. And to this day, people are still confused when I say that to them. They're like, that's not masculinity. But then as I break it down, and I show how analysis and deconstruction is a simple core, and I show all of that it goes into from Sofra 1 to Sofra 3, it's like, wow, the frequency is different. The frequency is different. This is where things transition from from teacher to student. I don't know where my words is at, y'all. But this is a part of the transition from teacher to student. A teacher and a student, there's a separation of frequency, and that comes from the understanding. If you ever looked at an iceberg, you seen the picture of an iceberg where people be like, what you show, what they don't know. And then you'll see two. On the left side, it'll be like an iceberg with like a big part sticking out of the water, but a small part on the inside of the water. And like what they see, or versus like, you know what I'm saying, student, teacher, whatever. The point of that is like it can be the same thing above the surface, but below the surface is totally different because that's where the frequency comes in. How frequent are you interacting with this type of information? You feel me? So now when I talk about masculinity and shit, there's people that can't go where I went because your frequency was never the same as mine. So we're on a different, our vibration is going to be different. Right. And now this ties into low vibrational. This is what I mean by low vibrational. My frequency under masculinity and shit was so high that I'm low vibrational with it. Everybody's low vibrational with anything that their frequency is high with. Study physics and you'll see what I'm talking about. Right. The vibration decreases as the frequency increases. They're opposite to each other. Right. So if you're on a high vibration, you're at a low frequency, bro. Very low frequency. But it's a low frequency of thought, which means that when you're at a low frequency, just it doesn't mean you're stupid. It doesn't mean, it just means that the occurrence of this event is not happening as fast as you would like it to. You dig what I'm saying? So I'll segue it a different way. If we're looking at inflate with inflation or master the market, right? Even in those two dynamics, inflate with inflation is a community where we do one-on-ones every night where it's live. The master the market is static. It's not live. You feel me? It's pre-recorded. It's already recorded. It's bam, bam, bam. You're getting the pieces. I'm gonna show you how to do it. There's different frequencies. There's literally different frequencies for these parts of the market, right? Even more than that, there's different frequencies as this whole thing is a collective. As a collective, excuse me. When I consider what it took for me to get here, it's like y'all, it's a frequency that y'all gotta have. And every frequency that you're on, when you are vibrating at a higher frequency, it pushes you through to the next level. If you're vibrating at a lower frequency, you stay on the same level because you don't know that there's higher frequencies to attend to. Now, by frequencies, again, higher rates of occurrence. You feel me? When you're an active day trader, you don't have to learn anything because the experience is different. Like you're in the markets, right? But when you have not even exposed yourself to it, you just think this is a possibility. You feel me? You now go into a different space. So now, if we are talking about frequencies and, mainly the frequencies of thoughts, the things that are the rate of occurrence, now we have to look at the mind because that's where thoughts reside, right? With the mind being where thoughts reside, and we have not an emotional side, we have our mental with that, and we have our 4 levels to the mind. Belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Tying this into frequency. Some people's frequency does not extend beyond belief, and you're having an understanding conversation with them. And you wonder why they're getting frustrated. You can't figure out why they're mad. It's like, what you mad for, bro? Like, what is you? Y'all are on different frequencies, and your frequencies are so different that the thoughts are in different pockets of the mind. So now, tying this back into what I was talking about with masculinity and everything, when it came down from the ethers, it reached the point in my mind of understanding. When I talk to people initially about masculinity, it's about belief. We're not on the same frequency. I understand that about people. And I'm comfortable telling people you're not on my frequency. Because when I treat you like you are, it's gonna make you feel like I'm making you feel stupid. Oh, you're speaking condescendingly on me. No, I'm speaking to you as a peer. I'm speaking to you as if you should be on the same frequency. So be there. If not, you gotta shut the fuck up and accept that you're a motherfucking student. All you keep hearing is get into the markets. But do you trade or do you invest? Should you do stocks, forex, crypto, or NFTs? My personal answer is not a single one if you don't know how to read a chart. Without knowing how to read a chart, you end up giving all your money to those who do. Do you know what a candle is? Do you know the pocket of activity? Do you know the difference between market direction and market control? If you answer no at least once, you might want to learn how to read a chart first. Learning how to read a chart will let you know if you should trade or invest and if you should do stocks, forex, crypto, and or NFTs. It will also let you know if this is even for you or not. So visit IamJustSeen.com to learn how to read charts with my Mastering the Market course, ebooks, and webinars today. The world is changing. The question is, will you adapt with it? And it's not me who has to humble himself. It's you. You know why you have to humble yourself? Because you're assuming that you're in a space that you're not. And I'm showing you that you're not in that space as modestly as possible, but you're not seeing it. Because we're coming from two different perspectives. When I tell people shit about, they'll be like, I've been there before. But what level of the mind were you on? What frequency were you in when you experienced this? That's why I can never understand how people will say, yo, I couldn't break through the wall that you broke through, but something's wrong with you because you broke through the wall. I couldn't. I don't know how you did it, and what you did must be wrong. We just different frequencies, which means that when we're on different frequencies, we can pull different things out of the ethers. You can't pull the things I can pull out of the ethers because you don't go as your frequency isn't as high as mine. Therefore, you don't align with things that are higher than that. There's things right now a lot of people will never be able to align with because they're aligned with their religion. Religion is very high vibrational, but very low frequency. But because people use vibration and frequency interchangeably, as opposed to antagonistically, when one is up, they think the other is up too. You ever notice that when your frequency is high about something, you chill about it? You're not active anymore. When you're good at something, when you master something, when you conquer something, it's not the same experience anymore. It's not in your mind the same way. Because it doesn't have to be. Because the frequency has already gotten you there. You dig what I'm saying? So your vibration on it is low. People be like, oh, you a party. You ever been in a situation where you've done something so many motherfucking times, people just like, yo, you a party pooper? Your vibration is low because your frequency is high because you do it so much. You dig what I'm saying? But then your vibration is high when you don't do it enough. You feel what I'm saying? You ever seen a motherfucker who didn't really experience shit, but they just be excited about certain shit? It's just like, yo, bruh, you feel me? Anybody who's new to something has a different zeal about something than anybody's. I have an episode on this called Beginner's Luck and Veteran's Experience. Veteran's experience is high frequency, low vibration. Beginner's luck is low frequency, high vibration. On paper, that's why it seems like the motherfucker who does it, they get bored. It's just like, huh? You feel me? Motherfucker who don't do it, they get excited about doing nothing. You feel what I'm saying? It's a different game. It's an entirely different game. It's an entirely different setup. It's an entirely different pace behind how frequencies work and how things don't work. Because if we're using them in the same context of, if we're using this all in the same context of frequency being the space of of how well you can associate with something, then by default, kind of, and if they're opposite, then the vibration will be how well you dissociate from it, and vice versa, because they're opposites to each other. They're not the same thing. You feel what I'm saying? So if we are going to, how can I say this? Because I don't want to be rude. Let me hit my water real quick. So we are going to assume that we are on the same level because we're in the same space, but not realizing that we vibrate differently about something. It's not going to be the same. I had a girlfriend. Well, shoot, what did we go together? I don't know. I don't think it can count. We talked, we vibed, whatever. But in that, she sent me a video. This was around the time of when Cardi B was just getting popping. She did the Bodak Yellow. So she sent me the video and was like, yo, she killed it. Yo, do you hear the bars and shit like this? And she's like, yo, she is spazzing. And when I hear it, she's kind of going off, but it's like, it's all right. See, this is what I got. It was like, yo, you're just hating. Why can't you just appreciate that she can rap and she can? I said, I'm not I didn't say that she couldn't rap. I said, but the hype that you have isn't the hype that I have because I'm a lyricist. I'm a lyricist. So when I hear shit, I'm looking at it like, damn, how, like, I'm looking at it from a higher frequency, which means my vibration on it is low. You feel what I'm saying? When I can be in a space where it's just like, damn, bro, like, shit. I'm used to lyricism. I'm used to producing lyrics and hearing lyrics that are different. You feel me? If I can predict your next bar, if I can, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that complex to me. So for me, you didn't kill that beat. You feel me? But again, like I said, it wasn't a shot to Cardi or anything like that. It was just to show my frequency is different. So because my frequency was higher in regards to lyricism and penmanship and rapping and writing, my frequency was a lot higher than this person's. You feel me? I've been doing this shit since I was 12 years old, so I have a different ear for it. You feel what I'm saying? Again, tying it back, veterans experience, beginner's luck, right? So she's hearing Cardi like, damn, she is like, bam. But I'm hearing the pockets like, bam, bam, bam. Like, and then there's times when I hear some off the, like some shit and it's like, motherfuckers like, yo, did you catch that? They like, catch what? I missed it. See, our frequency, like, it's like, damn, I didn't even know that's what he meant. And then like when you catch entendres and shit and layer them down, it's like, wait, you said that? Oh my gosh. That's different. You feel what I'm saying? But that's me as a lyricist, as a writer, as an author, as a poet. Those are things that I can do. So it doesn't amuse me the same way. So when your frequency is high on something because the rate of occurrence is higher for you, then your vibration is going to be lower because it's like, I'm not as excited because of how much I experience in regards to this. But when you don't have the frequency of this, your vibration for it is lower. I mean, it's higher because your vibration is showing you, hey, look, get the energy. You feel me? Because the frequency is low. Okay. So tying that in and using that and leveraging those, leveraging all of that, and then tying it into where we are as a culture, we need to understand frequency better. I'm not just saying it just from the music shit or whatever. I'm just showing that within these frequencies, we have different pockets because me and this person were aligned in other ways. We were on the same frequency for other shit. You feel me? On the same frequency for other shit. So much so that it's like when we did vibe on some shit, it would be a long, like the vibe will be so mellowed out and chill because our frequency is so high. We, you know what I mean? You ever wonder like why when you get excited, shit starts to chill? When another motherfucker can get excited with you, it's chill. But from the outside looking in, motherfuckers watching you just thinking y'all wilding and playing, but y'all chilling. Y'all chilling. Y'all vibration becomes lower when your frequency increases. So when people be like, we vibing, we don't vibe, we don't vibe. If we don't vibe, that means we're not on the same frequency. If we don't vibe, that means both of our frequencies aren't up and high, right? Because vibration is lower. Vibration is subtle. You dig what I'm saying? Taking it back to the light. Cut a light on, you hear it. You hear the low vibrational hum. EMFs. They cut like it's so many names for this shit, but it's tied to higher frequencies. And it's basically you just got to understand the physics of it all to understand how it applies to you. Because now when we look at it, like I said, from the esoteric, the metaphysical level, and we bring it back in, it's like, what does it mean to have a high frequency? Now we're gonna get real woke with the shit. What does it mean to have a high frequency? Naturally means that you allow yourself to operate at the rate in which the ethers can always communicate with you. Now, within these ethers can be called the heavens. This is where the gods can sit. God, Allah, Jehovah, Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, Yeshua, whatever it is that you identify with. All of these energies and these entities are in the ethereal realm. So when something comes to you, it's like that's it. When something comes to you, it's because you were fast enough to catch it. Your frequency was fast enough to catch it, fast enough to see it. Only your frequency was there. So there's certain things in this world right now. When it comes to your purpose is aligned with a certain frequency. When you yourself align with the same frequency, that's when your world opens up and it feels like you got the Midas touch, or you feel me? You ever notice when a motherfucker be like, yo, how are you so good at something, but you just don't brag about it and you just keep to yourself? And it's like, because my vibration is low with it, because my frequency with it is so high. When I do my marketing and advertising for inflate with inflation and mastering, like, matter of fact, for everything, like, but specifically mastering the market, inflate with inflation, when people are like, yo, you don't promote it as much as you should. Like, a lot of the things, like, I finally decided, like, I've been telling y'all, like, I'm on autopilot right now with a lot of the ads and stuff, because I realized that, like, it was off and on from time to time, even though it was all like, I just didn't want to do it. So it was easier just to do it, like, because I ain't feel like paying for it, because it was a matter of time versus money. But it's like, why spend that money when I could just do this? But then it's like, you burn yourself out or whatever the case may be. But in locking in, there was people saying like, yo, you need to advertise your master in the market and inflate with inflation more. I said, no, I don't. I mean, I should, but it's like the reason why I don't is because I do it. So it's hard for me. Like when it comes to masculinity, when it comes to hitting it raw, when it comes to anything that I've already created, it's hard to keep my vibration with it is low because my frequency with it is high. It's mine. The fuck? As a creator, you feel me? As a creator, anything that you create, you as the creator have the highest frequency for it. Nothing can have a frequency higher than the creator of the creation. Remember that. So when you create shit and people be wondering why, like, why aren't you sharing this? Because I don't have the same excitement for you. Like for example, when it comes to hitting, I mean, so frail. When people are hearing about so frail, they're like, yo, uh, what's like the accomplishment for me wasn't selling the books, it was getting the book written. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, yeah. If I don't sell them, I'm not mad. Like, you know me? And I'm only laughing because of the situation and the circumstances at hand. Like, if I didn't day trade and invest in shit, like I probably would be pressed and be like, yo, I gotta get this done. But it's like, nigga, fuck, buy the book if you want it. I'll talk about it on my page every now and again. Like, like, yo, if you follow me, if you follow me on Instagram, you know when I do my slides, it's like the slide ends with, hey, but while I got you here, go visit imjustc.com to get my books, my merch, and courses and shit. You ain't doing shit else. That's what my marketing has become. Right. For my main page. I'm not I like now I just run the ads because I'm like, I don't have the energy for it. Not the energy as if I don't like doing it. I'm a low vibrational side with it now. I've already reached the frequency where my frequency with this particular thing is so high. I don't have the same zeal and excitement that I need to do the next phase of this. You feel me? As far as, myself. But now it's like, all right, fuck it, we gotta do ads, bro. Cause I get bored. You get bored, like you get bored hearing. So what is so real about spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment, the essence of analysis and deconstruction? Well, why is this one called toxic femininity? Because femininity is spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment, the essence of synthesis and construction. Because it's toxic, because men are exhibiting, it destroys the world, creates destruction. What about divinity? You just think divinity is the harmony between the physical and the mental, spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment, the essence of of masculine and feminine essences. That is divinity. Right? It's not the bar no more for me. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. The frequency was when I was writing this shit, when I was pulling this shit out the ethers, and I'm coming up, I'm like, ooh, that's a bar. That's hard. I said that shit. You feel me? But like for example, when I come up with the quotables like respect is to men, what love is to women, it don't hit the same as it did when I first caught it. Because when my frequency was like, wow, now it's a low vibration for me. But anytime somebody hears it now, it's like, damn, I never looked at it like that. It's up there for them. This is why I mentioned people, I was like, if you follow me on social media now, and it's like there was a time when the first time people follow me, they flooded my page. It's like, bruh, caption, 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 caption. Yo, you the caption king. I gotta keep reading. Then it comes to a point where it's like, I expect this out of you because I raised your frequency. It lowered your vibration because now the shit that it doesn't excite you anymore. You dig what I'm saying? Same principle. As an entrepreneur, you eventually reach a point where if you're not constantly refreshing and shit, it's eh, eh, eh. Only thing that makes like this is why I can't understand how motherfuckers that do podcasts can talk about the same shit every episode. Like, y'all niggas ain't tired of talking about men and women beefing, like at all. It ain't nothing else for y'all to talk about. I highly doubt I'd be in 9 seasons right now if I didn't study, if I didn't learn, if I didn't read shit, if you know what I'm saying? Because the other shit is mundane. The other shit is mundane. Like, you feel me? It's very mundane. And because it's mundane, I can't fuck with it. And because I can't fuck with it, it's at a different frequency from where I'm at. And it's in that separation of frequency that as people, we have to, one, learn how to respect, but two, learn how to get back to. Because some motherfuckers, we get so wrapped up in the status and position that we think that ties to frequency. Nah, homie. What like you hear all the time, especially with this Kevin Samuel shit, high value men. So here's the crazy thing. High value men are the men that make over 6 figures. Women want the men that make over 6 figures, or the high value men. Men want to be high value men, but somehow there's a struggle with making the 6 figures part. Here's the thing. When you are in a frequency, see now, here's a piece of that. Like all of this shit, when we look at energy, right? I'm gonna bring it on home. When you look at where we are right now, the reason why a lot of motherfuckers ain't in 6 figures, a lot of motherfuckers ain't, because they don't want it. They don't know that they don't want it because they're not in the alignment, the frequency alignment for it. Your energy has to be on par with what that energy takes. I've never met a millionaire who didn't study millionaires. Whatever your frequency is on, whatever you are involved in, indulging in yourself the most, those are the things that are going to, whatever you are putting into yourself the most, right? Those are the things that create your frequency. The shit that no longer surprises you or entertains you, lowers your vibration. It's a very, very strange plot twist. When your vibration is lower, that means because the frequency is outdated. Right? Well, no, you increase the, let me say it differently. So you've increased the frequency so much that you've done it so much that you have a lower vibration because you're involved in it. Right? When you are actively a doer, you don't have the same excitement. That's why when like I said, tying it back into marketing and matching the market and inflate with inflation, people would say you don't have the same excitement as the scammers. Because the scammers don't know what they don't have the frequency I have. I do this shit every fucking day. So much so, I wonder if my Iwi gang be really catching on to what I be doing sometimes. It's like, yo, I be like, look, I'm not watching this shit. I'm going to set my alert here. It's going to cross here. When it comes, I tell them, when it comes above this line, I'll make this entry. When it comes below this line, I'll make this entry. I'm not doing shit else. My frequency has gotten so well to the point where I can automatically hop into the trade at the final push. I know where the final pushes are. My students, they have to get to that frequency point where they can see all points. They're getting there. Don't get me wrong. They are getting there. They see the pocket, the battlefield. Like, I teach them slick shit. Like, I'm like, look, yo, if you go back 2 days, I ain't gonna say 2 days. If you go back 2 candles, I use candles to give you a little bit of the game. But if you go back 2 candles, right, and then you mark where that start is, that's where your trade is at. And I've shown them that consistently. Like, you feel me? Go back 2 days, and this is where your trade's supposed to be. You can't make an entry until this point. Now, if you cross above, like, let's say we got 2 days back, we're supposed to be selling at this particular point. So that means once it crosses this line, that's when you make this sell. If it hasn't crossed that line yet, now you make a buy above that line. So you can be in it before it happens and then get in it on the way down when it goes the way it's supposed to go. Right? My frequency with this shit is so fucking high that my vibration is low. My vibration is low because it's like you make it seem boring, because it is boring to me now. I don't have that same excitement when I first started. The people that are able to scam, the scammers and shit, they had that excitement because they had not experienced it. Like, yo, you can make all of this shit. I don't tell people what they could make. I don't tell people what they, what I'm saying, what potential they have. I stopped doing that shit a long time ago. I tell motherfuckers, look, yo, when you learn to read these charts, yo, you got a skill for life. That's it. I'm not about to convince you how much you can make, because the sky's the limit. You can make what you want, just depending on how much you're willing to put in and how on point you're going to be and how dedicated you are to learning, what frequency you are to actually mastering the market. Mastery is a whole different frequency in its own. You don't want to master something, don't step into the frequency. But see, that's the thing. A lot of people like the idea of high vibration far more than they like the reality of high frequency, but they don't know it. Because like I said, they use these things interchangeably. Oh, I'm on some high vibes. We want some good vibes and shit. Like, what does a good vibe feel like? The best vibes have high frequencies. Now, if you're dealing with a frequency that you can't, oh nah, this person is like, yo, y'all can't operate on the same frequency. There's no way in fuck y'all can vibe. Y'all can't fucking vibe because y'all frequency is too, you have low frequencies and shit. So you're gonna have a high vibration. This is why, tying it back into the 3 levels of the masculine and feminine energy, the fraternal and sororal, that's high vibrational, low frequency. Spousal, that's mid vibrational, mid frequency. Maternal and paternal, that's high frequency, low vibrational. This is why when you meet a motherfucker who's, oh, you had like an old person, you boring. Bitch, I don't need to vibe no more. My frequency's high. My frequency is high. But as a child, my frequency is low. The energy, like, I think I did an episode about adulthood, childhood, and elderhood and shit like that. The child, right, is the high vibrational, low frequency energy. The adult is the mid vibrational, mid frequency energy. The elder is the the low vibrational, high frequency energy. Shit don't be hard, y'all. It be right there, right? But the problem is, nobody takes that step to actually learn anything. Just everybody's saying this, so I'm gonna say it too, because this is what I need. People like, yo, fuck with me when you get off your root chakra. Plot twist, you never get off your root chakra. You open your root chakra and go to your next one. You don't get off of it. You still need to use it. Why? Because you're always going to need to survive. The fuck? That is where that energy is. That is where that energy is built to get you through. Survival. Foundation. You're always going to need to survive and have a foundation or something. So get off your root chakra. No, you always need it. Now you use it in conjunction with the others. Thriving is when you survive with your feelings, which is sacral energy. You're using your feelings to actually start to survive. Now you're thriving, because now you're not just responding as action. It becomes intentional. If this makes me feel this way, then I can act. There's no feeling when you're in survival mode. It's just doing. I don't give a fuck how I feel about this shit. It got to get done. But then once you move into thriving, this only gets done by certain ways of feeling, because now what happens is your frequency is increasing. Your vibration is getting lower. I'm going to put money on it. If you haven't paid attention to this or not, but I put money on it that if you want to see some of the most highest the highest frequency people have the lowest vibration, and they're the people that you look like, yo, how did you come up with some simple, complex shit? Like, that's some of the most advanced shit, but it's real simple. I have people all the time tell me shit like that. They be like, yo, how are you so good at articulating what you want to say? Because I'm vibrating at the frequency that allows me to do that. I'm not saying that they're not vibrating at the frequency that allows them to do that, but there's a disconnect. Because in addition to vibrating at a frequency or using a certain frequency, You also have to be able to use that frequency in exhibition. It's one thing to use it internally, to vibe there internally, but can you vibe there externally too? There's a lot of motherfuckers who are in one space in the solitude of themselves and a totally different motherfucker in the real world because they have to be. Because I can't move at this frequency. First thing in the morning, you got to pep yourself up and be high vibrational, low frequency, because you around motherfuckers you don't like. You feel me? When I used to like everywhere I go, people be like, "Yo, why you so quiet?" Cause my frequency high. Now I'm gonna keep it at that. I'm gonna start saying that, yo, because my frequency's high, so my vibration is low. And when my vibration is low, I'm chilling. I'm comfortable. My vibration isn't high because my anxiety's kicking in. Like, I'm comfortable here. My frequency is high, and I'm able to maneuver. You feel me? I come here. I do this. Like when you do something enough, your frequency, your vibration is low with it because your frequency is so high because there's no excitement there anymore. There's no energy in it because it doesn't have to be there. You feel what I'm saying? You see a NBA star saying, "Look, shoot a 3-pointer." Like if Steph Curry told you how to shoot a 3-pointer, you'll know, you'll trust it, right? But if you follow Steph Curry's routine to a T to shoot exactly like he shoots to make the ball and shit, and you make it, you're gonna have a high vibration because you're gonna feel good, you're gonna be excited and shit. You still have low frequency because that's you never done it in a recurring. Steph has done it so many motherfucking times that it doesn't excite him anymore. He don't. He's at such a point now where he doesn't shoot and then hold his form. He shoots and turns around. That's a different frequency, bro. He has experienced his shot so many times. Now we're gonna wrap up, but I'm gonna break down frequency a little deeper now. With this frequency, he has experienced so many shots, so many scenarios, so many different. Like he shot from everywhere so much that he knows that when he releases the ball from here, it's going in. I mentioned this in Soul for 3, how this is potent, but I didn't tie it to frequency in Soul for 3, so I'm tying it there now. There's something that you do right now that your frequency is so high about, whether it be your job, whatever, you don't even think about it anymore. You don't even know that you don't think about it anymore. You just do it. No matter what the scenario is, no matter what it is, your mind is never involved because you are at such a frequency with it that the vibration is so low that it doesn't bother you anymore. It does not excite anything out of you. That's the sad part about frequency. Frequency doesn't yield excitement. Frequency doesn't yield excitement because it doesn't have to yield excitement. You see what I'm saying? Because once something is repeated, it becomes mundane. Once you repeat the cycle, it becomes mundane. So you don't even see it playing out in real time. So our frequencies are that important that we have to look at what cycles do we repeat? Um what occurrences of time do we constantly recollect on and go over? Like your frequency, brushing your teeth, that's a frequency. You feel what I'm saying? The things you think about on a regular basis. This is why I be trying to tell women, the sisters, y'all, I know y'all listening. So I be trying to tell y'all, hey, look, stop talking about fuck boys all the time. Fuck boys are your frequency. Whether or not, this is what I'm telling people, like whether or not you want it or not, the universe doesn't respond to what you want the most. It responds to what's on your mind, what you think about the most. Why? Because your mind is the closest thing to your soul. Your mind, which is where your thoughts are, the closest thing to the ethers. So whatever is on your mind the most, the ether's going to say, bing, swipe it right through there. You wonder why you keep getting fucked over by fuck boys, because that's all that your frequency is decided upon. That's what excites you. You feel what I'm saying? People love spontaneity. People love certain shit because the excitement that it gives them, not the reality for what it is. It's just the excitement that it gives them, right? So women simultaneously don't realize that they love fuck boys because fuck boys excite them. Fuck boys are high vibrational, low frequency. My brothers, I know y'all listening too, because we in this motherfucker too. The bum bitches and shit, they are low frequency, high vibrational. Oh, that's a bad bitch. high vibrational, low frequency. You get entertained, you get a lot of energy, but then that frequency, the reoccurring of spurts of, oh, this shit doesn't happen all the time. Because high frequency equals lower vibration. Now you think you're bored. Now you thinking it. No, relationships ain't supposed to be violent. They ain't supposed to be this volatile. You dig what I'm saying? But motherfuckers think they need that. They that's what they think they're missing. Oh, I just want some excitement in my life. There's no excitement. There's no this, that, and the third. There's no low vibrational anymore. I mean, there's no high vibrational anymore. Because you can't have high vibrational and have high frequency. It ain't gonna work. You gotta pick. But this is why you don't have to pick. You can use them all simultaneously. But this is why I talk about the different energy of masculine and feminine, the fraternal and soror energy. Know how to tap into that when you have too much masculine and maternal and paternal energy. You feel what I'm saying? Know how to tap into that when you may have too much spousal energy. Know how to tap into the other energies when you may have too much fraternal and soror energy. You feel me? Because it's all going to be the balance between high frequency and high vibration in some way, shape, or form. Frequency and vibration. Frequency is high, vibration is low. When the vibration is high, frequency is low. Because now you're at a space where nothing matters. When you go having fun and you getting on a roller coaster or whatever in the case may be, nothing's on. There's nothing recurring in your mind at that point. There's no frequency at play because the vibration is low. Because the vibration is high because the frequency is low. All I'm thinking about is a fucking roller coaster. You dig what I'm saying? Think about anytime you went to an amusement park, anytime you went somewhere fun, you only remember the fun shit. You don't remember the dumb shit. You remember the vibrational shit, the high vibrational shit. But it was all low frequency shit. Shit that you didn't have to think about. You feel me? You don't need to think too hard about you about to throw a ball through a hole. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that. It ain't that. But see, when we live a life where we don't know how to maneuver through all of those because all of these things are important. If we just think about frequency and we wonder why we become old, bitter people. Because when you at a high frequency, you only tap into your maternal and paternal energy, the mature energy of yourself. I want to stay mature forever. Motherfuckers ain't on my level. Motherfuckers ain't on my level. You ain't got no level. You ain't got no level. Shut up. You ain't got no level. See, motherfuckers want to be so holy and so high frequency and shit that they forget that makes them high vibrational. I mean, they want to be high frequency that they forget it makes them low vibration. They become boring. They don't like that. You feel me? They want to be the life of the party. But then to be the life of the party means like that. That's why I don't get it. Like when people are so intertwined with being high vibrational, I just look at them. I'm like, yo, you have a low latency, baby. That was the wrong word, but I just felt like saying latency. You have a low vibration. You have a low frequency. You have a very low frequency with what you're talking about. And it's cool. It's okay. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily have to have a high frequency, but at the same time, don't gloat like you do. Because everybody's frequency is high until it's challenged. Like when people ask me about certain books and I give them to them, they're like, yo, that book is too much for me. It's not for me because this is my frequency. I'm able to, you feel me? You can't sit still long enough for that. This is why a lot of people can't meditate because meditate is high frequency. And because it's high frequency, that means it's low vibrational. Right? But because it's when you meditate, if you meditate and you start getting distracted and everything like that, it's because your frequency isn't increasing, your vibration is. And because your vibration is, that's why you stay distracted because now you're being excited. You're not controlling the energy to make it a higher frequency. You're allowing the energy to remain at a low frequency, which makes the vibration higher, which means you can't focus. You feel what I'm saying? And this is what fucks us up. This is what fucks us up as people because we don't understand this simple reality about frequency and vibration. And then we try to operate solely from a frequency of, ooh, my frequency is this. Ask a motherfucker what frequency they on. What's the number? What number in hertz is your frequency? You about 54.8 kilohertz, 432 megahertz? Like, what is it? What's your frequency? Motherfucker ain't gonna tell you that answer. You know why they can't tell you that answer? Because it's speculative. Because when you don't have a definition and you only operating off a description and you only following what everybody else saying, you can't really break down that information. And you can't really see that information for what it is. You feel what I'm saying? By no token am I saying I operated a certain frequency of a certain number. I don't know that fucking number. I don't know that number because the reason why I don't know that number because you can't measure the speed of a thought. See, the formula for frequency is hertz. Hertz is cycle per second. Hertz is measured in cycle per second. This is why you have speed of light. The speed of sound is 343 meters per second. The speed of light is 3.0 times 10 to the 8 meters per second squared, right? If sound is measured in meters per second, light is measured in meters per second squared. It's only just because I'm going down this way and I'm going up. It could be wrong, but nobody's ever measured it because it's hard to. That will mean whatever the front numbers are, that will mean logically that thought has to move at meters per second cubed. Okay? Meters per second cubed. Meters per second is speed. Meters per second squared is acceleration. What is meters per second cubed? They didn't teach us that in physics because they don't know yet. They ain't got a name for the shit. That's how fast thought moves. It moves faster than light. Meters per second cubed. And this is just a hypothesis. I don't know. It has to, but I'm just basing it off the fact of the way the speed moves because we go from earth to water to fire to air to sound to light. From sound to light to thought, right? When we look at light, it's like, and this is another piece because if light moves that fast, darkness has to move faster than light in order for light to be visible. Because if light moved faster than darkness, it'd be all encompassing. We would not have any darkness. Because we would see the light before we ever seen the darkness. The fact that we can see darkness and shadows in the light, that means darkness has to move faster than the light. But thought still has to move faster than that. Right? So this is what I'm saying. It goes from meters per second to meters per second squared and possibly meters per second cubed. Do I know for sure? No, I don't. But it could be meters per second cubed. It could be meters per second to the fourth. I don't know. But the point is that it's moving faster. Right? Thought moves faster than light. So if you are unable to look at the frequency and give what like you can't give that number. So like I said, if I ask somebody like, yo, what's your frequency? You know what I'm saying? It's measured in hertz, cycles per second, right? So like I said, if hertz is cycles per second, that will be sound is really the only thing that can be measured in hertz. Because this will be cycles per second squared. If you're looking at light isn't a matter of cycles per second squared. It's much faster than hertz. So it's like a squared frequency in a sense. You feel what I'm saying? And then same with thought, darkness, all of these things. It has to gradually go up. You feel me? So if the frequency isn't moving, or if this frequency is moving higher than you know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna slow down because I'm getting everywhere. Frequency, if it's moving that fast, right? You have to ask yourself, what frequency are you on? So when I'm asking people like what's your vibrate, like we got a vibe on the same level. What's the frequency then? What's the frequency? Stop saying shit if you're not really willing to go that distance. You feel what I'm saying? Because what frequency are you on? Well, I like this. I like this. All right, so say that. Stop saying the motherfucker got to be on your same frequency because then I'm going to ask you, are you on like 23.4 megahertz? No, you're trying to be, well, that's frequency. That's what frequency is measured in. It's the cycle per second, but this is why I'm taking it away from the physics perspective and I'm using it metaphysically to show that it's with it being the cycles per second, it is the rate of occurrence. How much something starts and ends and goes back to the start again. You feel me? That's the rate of occurrence. And when it comes to our frequency, we have to elevate it, right? So now, tying it in, what frequency do you have to be to actually get a divine thought? That means your thoughts, you have to be vibrating at a space where not even you have to be vibrating in a space and your frequency has to be in such a space that it's faster than sound, right? It's faster than light and it's faster than thought. Because that is the only way that you are able to be fast enough to get. That's why I use the light and the dark. That's why I said darkness has to be faster than light because you need darkness to see light. That's the medium to see light when light is moving that fast. You dig what I'm saying? So it stands to reason that the ethers will be like the darkness and have to move faster than the thought. right? So you have to vibrate in a space to where you can see the idea or the spark or whatever that's in the ethers as it slows down and condenses into a thought. There's things right now that you thought about doing, and it's like, I wonder if that's doable, right? Things that are ethereal moments. Um, Technology for one, the internet, nigga pulled that shit out the ethers. So this is one of the things that pisses me off, especially about religion, when people say there's nothing new under the sun. Nigga, they ain't have internet back in the day. Like, the fuck? And if they did, what happened? Some say they did have Wi-Fi. I don't know. But anyway, how we're looking at it now is different. And these could very well be all of the things that they burned and the books that they have under the Vatican, and they're finally figuring it out now, and and applying shit to this. Who knows? Who knows? But the core of all of this is that in order for these divine thoughts, in order for these visions, all of this stuff, like people be like, I had a vision, I had a dream, I had this, that, and the third. Like, yo, somebody, the Lord told me to say that. Like, you pulled that shit out the ethers. Now, when you are pulling something, like when you're constantly getting quote unquote prophecies, when you're constantly getting what a deity told you to tell another motherfucker, you keep that motherfucker on your mind far more than you should. That's why the deity told you to tell them. It's not that. You know their circumstance, you know their situation, and it stays in your mind so much that you got to answer before they could. That's why I be telling motherfuckers, I be like, yo, how can your deity speak to you about somebody else, but not speak to you about you? Because the deities don't speak. What happens is the ethers, this person, the frequency, this person has stayed on this other person's mind so much that the frequency and the rate of occurrence of this person is so high that the ethereal moment came directly to them, which means that the personal self is not high enough in frequency to that person to where they can't get it themselves. So that's why I asked him, I'm like, yo, so your deity don't speak directly to you? He can tell you everybody else what everybody like, but he can tell you detailed shit about everybody else, but nothing about yourself. You know why? Because you have no frequency where you are on your mind. You're not worried about yourself. You're not worried about your growth. You're not worried about your development. You're always worried about somebody else. And because you're always worried about somebody else, that's the frequency you stay in. So you always gonna get insight, all kind of shit about this motherfucker right here, because that's who you focus on. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of people say, women be like, oh, I knew this was wrong. Woman's intuition, blah, blah, blah. What happened was you pulled something out of the ethers because this is what stayed on your mind the most. But then you were given the very thing that stayed on your mind the most. So you got the fuck boy that you always think about because you think all men are dogs, all men are going to cheat. It's programmed in your mind. So this is what you align with. So only thing that you can be aligned with is good cheaters. So when that motherfucker comes in, you knew because in your mind, your frequency was already in line for niggas ain't shit. These niggas only want one thing. These niggas only going to do one thing. And they do that one. And the universe gives you that motherfucker who does that one thing, who only wants one thing. Because that's the frequency you fucking on. You dig what I'm saying? That is the frequency you're on. And because you're on that frequency, right? You also have to consider that you're in a vibration where these type motherfuckers give you a lot of energy. I've never met a woman who hated the fuck boy but didn't like the time that she had with him. Yeah, you played her. Yeah, he played her and he broke her heart. He did her dirty. He did all of that shit. But she had one of the best motherfucking times of her life. And this is why she can't stop fucking with fuck boys. Because she knows she likes the best times of her life, even if it's some bad shit. It's like, yo, why don't women keep running through this shit? Because they don't want to admit that part. They had fun with the motherfucker. Yeah, he was toxic, damaging, and broke my heart, but I had fun. It was high vibrational, low frequency, but high vibrational. You feel what I'm saying? We ain't had nothing in common, really. We ain't like, you know what I'm saying? But motherfucker fucked your brains out and you had fun. Shit was exhilarating. You feel what I'm saying? Nobody wants to add that part. Nobody wants to add that part because then to add that part admits your part in the situation of how the frequency manifested itself. You feel me? How it was able to come to be. Dudes do it too. We do that. We do this shit too. Our frequency is bad bitches, and we wonder why bad. Like, there's like no good comes out of a bad bitch, bro. You feel me? I know people like, yo, the bad bitches, they winning and shit. They winning with fuck boys, bro. Like, think about like bad bitches and fuck boys, they go together. The fuck? It's different. It's different. It's way different. But it's because of their frequency. And because of the frequency and the misinterpretation of frequency and vibration, they think that because they're getting high vibration, they're getting high frequency. They know they're getting low frequency and they're getting high vibration. And this is why the shit be in shambles, because the high vibration is actually bad for them. Because it doesn't yield a high frequency, it yields a low frequency, and the low frequency is the rate of occurrence. And the rate of occurrence for the shit that we have is so minimal that all we can do is vibrate high. And don't forget to check out Cafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Cafe Clothing. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. That's frequency, bro. Sis. Oh yeah. Like I said, I wanted to talk about this conversation. Because like I said, I had a conversation, motherfucker. He gonna say, well, you're on the same frequency. We're not, bro. We not, bro. I'm not on the same frequency as no fucking body. Because nobody's repetitively or repeatedly thinking about what I'm thinking about. I know they're not. I know. So my frequency is different. The shit that my frequency is on some other shit. So my vibration is low. So when your frequency is high about some shit, your vibration is going to be, motherfuckers don't want to feel it. My frequency is low about some shit. You feel me? The rate of occurrence is low. It's like, it's every now and again. You feel me? When I have a rate of occurrence that is so high that I constantly revisit this thing. If you only revisiting something once a week, that I'm revisiting once an hour, who do you, in the long run, who do you think is going to have a higher frequency with it? Who do you think is going to be well versed with the shit? Who do you think is going to have more experience with it? Who do you think is going to be more on point with it? This is what I tell y'all. Not y'all, but I mean, I say, motherfuckers be like, yo, Scene, what books you reading? I want to get like you. I want to get on the level you on. You're not. You're not. You don't know the frequency behind why I'm reading this book. You want to read this book to catch up to me. You feel me? You want to read this book because you want it to see. You want to know what I know, learn what I learn. You don't want to vibrate on my frequency. You feel me? Because the sole fact that you're asking me about this book, I was gravitated towards this book. You feel me? You want to know what book I read to give that information. This book came to me because of what information I constantly thought about. Do you feel what I'm saying? The shit that you think about, your vibration, not your vibration, because your frequency, the recurrent themes that hit you all the fucking time, those are the things that come to you that you attract. Because that's what's on your mind. If you heartbroken, stop thinking about bad shit. When I was heartbroken, all I could think about was being heartbroken, and that shit kept my heart hurting. When I finally said, you know what, I'm done being hurt. I'm about to be a hoe. I turned into a hoe. When I said I'm done being a hoe, I'm about to get my shit together, I got my shit together. Because this was the frequency that I needed to be on. I knew which frequency I needed to be on. I needed my mind to be recurring around a certain thing. So once my mind started recurring around that, those things came into my life because the ethers said, bam, here you go. Start pulling it. Start pulling it. Start pulling it. Because these are where your thoughts are. Now you vibrate in the right space. Boom, we'll show you something. Boom, here you go. When I learn something new, it's like, bam, as soon as that information comes, boom, I go find it. And I fact check it myself. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm at a vibrational frequency. When I'm at a frequency that allows me to do that. So my vibration is always low on the shit that I like. You feel me? I don't have to get excited about certain shit that I know because I've already spent so much time with it. And then when, like I said, when the book comes or when the information comes, it's just like, oh, now it's clear. I didn't go like, I've noticed I'm watching a lot of people study astrology. I'm watching a lot of people study numerology and all these other things. And they're like, yo, bro, how did you grasp it so well? How do you grasp it so quick? Because I was already on the frequency. So when the time came, it just came to me. Like I already knew I wanted to be on astrology. So the right information, the right material for the frequency that I'm on, it'll come to me to teach me the right things. Like I've never met any astrologer talk about aspirations. Never. But I'm like, when I set my intentions, when I put my frequencies on, it's always for the absolute best. It's always for the absolute best. I want to know the deepest piece of all of this. And I set my intention for that. And then I put my frequency alignment with that. And then it comes into my reality. And then I have to be on point to catch the opportunities to say, hey, I have been thinking about this. I have been thinking about this. This has been on my mind a lot. Because what's on your mind comes. Even down to the simplest level, when you're thinking about somebody for so long, they're going to message you or call you or something. Because it's like, am I thinking about you and you called? Or is it because you thought about me and wanted to call that I'm starting to think about you now? It could be either one. But at any either rate, we are at a frequency in which we have a line and the ether say, yeah, y'all thinking about each other. Boom. One of y'all reach out. Or y'all thinking about each other, neither one of y'all reach out because y'all stubborn as fuck. You feel me? But anywho, that's frequency, y'all. One thing we got to do is first understand what frequency is the rate of occurrence, and understand that it's actually opposite to vibration. It's not the same as vibration. As your frequency increases, your vibration decreases because it does not have the same excitability. High frequency does not have equal excitability or visible excitability. It eventually stops. You dig what I'm saying? But when you have that high vibration, you have a low frequency. And that's what a lot of people are trying to entangle themselves with. They want high vibration under the guys that are getting high frequency. You're not going to get both. High frequency is boring. There's no excitement in high frequency. Hear me well. Right? But there's stability in it. And there's freedom in it, and there's actually where the manifestation and everything is. A lot of people realize they can't manifest. They mad they can't bring shit into reality because it's like you're not vibrating in the space that manifests this shit. This is why you need to be in tune with your feelings. Why you need to be in tune with your emotions. Why you need to be in tune with your thoughts. Why you need to be in tune with everything that you're dealing with, because this shit is not what you think it is. You can't just be a wishful thinker. This shit has to stay in your mind all the time. And when it comes, you have to act on what comes. You feel me? You got to stop thinking about a whole bunch of shit. And then when you get that shit, you sabotage it. Because that's showing I am at the high frequency, but I only want to operate low vibrationally. I mean, I'm at a high frequency, but I only want to operate high vibrationally. So I'm going to sabotage it because I'm going to slow my frequency down with this, and I'm going to increase my vibration with this shit. And now I'm going to fuck it up. Self-sabotage comes from the confusion of frequency and vibration. Because you operating at a frequency that brought you what you're looking for, but you didn't stay at that frequency because now you want to have a high vibration with the shit, which means you have to decrease the frequency, which means that you have to lower its importance in your mind in order to be viable with the shit. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's how potent frequency is. So I challenge all y'all, if y'all trying to get y'all frequencies right, just increase the rate of occurrence of shit that's on your mind. And the more you see it, the more it comes up into your mind, the more. I'm going to say it like this, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. You know how when you first buy a car, you see your car everywhere? Did your car really pop up everywhere? Fuck no. It's been everywhere. You just never noticed the other people's cars driving because you had no reason to. Now you have a frequency because you get in this car every fucking day. You have increased the rate of occurrence for this particular car. Therefore, you're going to see it outside. As within, so without. When there's no intention for you to see it, you have no desire to see it. Simple. So there's no frequency there. But once the frequency increases, you see it all the time. Why? Because that's what's in your vision. That's what's in your sight. So the increase, you feel me? So much so, and this ties into low vibrational too, because you drive your car every day, right? You don't think about checking your mirrors anymore. You feel me? You don't have to adjust your seat, put your seat back anymore. It's low vibrational now because the frequency is high, because the rate of occurrence is high. So the vibration is low. You feel me? You don't care where you park no more. When you first get that motherfucker, you better make sure you ain't parking near no carts. Make sure nobody's like, you know what I'm saying? After a while, it just, the frequency is so high with this that the vibration is now low. You feel me? But when you first get the car, you feel what I'm saying? The frequency is not as high yet. That's why the vibration is high. That's why you love everything about it. Oh, I could do this on my car. I could do this. I could do this. And after that, it's just, your car connects automatically as soon as you hop in the car. Boop, you ain't got to touch that. Plays the last shit that was in your playlist and all that. You don't have to think about shit no more. The frequency gone. I mean, the frequency high, so that mean the vibration is gone. You feel what I'm saying? This is how life works. Your frequency determines what you're going to manifest in your reality because it's all in what hits around your mind the most. You dig what I'm saying? For a long time, the only thing on my mind was mastering the market and inflate with inflation collectively. You feel what I'm saying? Till I mastered the fucking market. Then I created a course and everything. For a long time, Software was the only thing that was on my mind until I finished the books. For a long time, the hitting the raw program and all that, it was the only thing in my mind until I created the shit. Then once I got it out, the freaking, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the rate of occurrence is high. I don't have to think about it. You feel me? And it's always on my mind because it's mine. You dig what I'm saying? Which means that in that I have to flip it to the other side because I have to say it's not in your mind. So I have to capture you and keep the vibration high. Right? I have to keep the vibration high before you get a frequency with it. That's how marketing and advertising work, but that's a different topic. But don't let your frequencies get fucked up, yo. Don't. And stop confusing your frequency with your vibration and understand what it is. Let your frequency be the rate of occurrence for the things that are in your mind. Your vibration is how often those things are there. And then who you can be in that same space and keep that with. You feel what I'm saying? Know what's on your mind and know how to keep shit right. And you'll lock in, man. You'll be good. But that's all I got. I got shit to do. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And teach our children frequencies early. They already know about frequencies, bro. Just put a name to it so they can actually understand what it is that they're doing. When a child gets quiet, their vibration lower than a motherfucker, but their frequency higher than a motherfucker. I heard this quote that said, "If your child is carefully doing something dangerous, leave them alone." If your child is carefully doing something dangerous, leave them alone. They know what they're doing. They are at a frequency right now that is high, very high. They'll be okay. If they fall, whatever, they will be okay. Their frequency is very, very high. Their vibration is low. That's why you're not hearing anything. That's why you're not seeing anything. Their vibration is, when kids get fucking Vaseline and shit all over their bodies, there's a lot of things that's probably going through their minds. You feel what I'm saying? Their frequency is high. Their frequency is high about this. It's like, this is slimy. This is filmy. This is this. What if I put this here? What if I put this here? Wow, I seen mama rub it in. It ain't rubbing in for me. Maybe I should put more. There's a lot of things that go through their mind because their frequency is so high that everything about this particular topic is coming down to them out of the ethers. And there's no low vibration. That's why they get quiet. So I tell you, when children are quiet, something's wrong. It's not something's wrong. They're active. Their frequency is high. Go find out why their frequency is high. Because whatever a child's frequency is, whatever a child's frequency is highest about, right? That is, whatever child's frequency is highest about, that is most what they're attuned to doing in this world. Keep that in mind. When you leave your child alone, not like abandon them or no shit like that, but to their own devices and they get quiet and then you go check on them and you see what they're doing, it's the reason why they're doing that. Start tapping into what it is that they're doing and figure out why, and then do that with them. Give them the frequency with it and allow them to see what it is that they're, why are you doing this? I want to know what you're doing. Are you an artist? Like, one thing that I decided when I have my kids is I'm going to have a house that is completely white. Not a house. I mean, within my house, I'm going to have a room that's completely white. No furniture. No. You know what? I am going to have furniture. I'm going to have everything in that bitch is going to be completely white. It's going to be the creation station. When they want to go make music, they want to do anything, it's like whatever. They want to paint, draw on walls. I don't give a fuck. Put crayons, color, pencils, paints, everything. You mad, you angry, whatever you feel. Go into that motherfucking room and have at it. Yep, we're gonna have white leather couches and shit. Fuck your couch, nigga. We're gonna have all of that shit. Have at it. Because you're gonna do it, right? Children are gonna draw on shit. They're gonna, because their frequency is so high. You feel me? But it's like, I would rather be able to say, okay, I know what your frequency is going to be. Now let me put you in somewhere where your vibration could be low and you can have at it. So now if I put them in a room, it's like, okay, you cannot draw on walls. Not these walls, but you can draw on these. You feel me? I don't want to punish you for being great because I don't know what you can be. Like, you probably drawing on that because of what you see and you just haven't fully manifested it yet. I don't know what you see. The frequency might be too high. It might take decades for you to actually draw this exact vision. I know artists who I talk to and they say shit like, yo, I've been trying to paint this since I was like 6. It's been in my mind. They've created other works, but there's one particular project or two that has been in their mind since they was a kid and they just can't perfect it. No matter how much they try. They be trying to get it because that's their muse. That's their one thing that sparks their reality, that keeps their frequency so high. You feel what I'm saying? We all have it. Our kids have it too. So when they frequencies are high and they get quiet, figure out why they quiet. Because it's definitely a teaching lesson in that. But it is something in them that made them want, they had a curiosity. Like I said, with the Vaseline, they probably seen mommy and daddy put the Vaseline on and said, I have to experience this for myself. Right? So now they can understand what it is and now they can accept or reject what the reality is and they can control their frequency. But make sure your babies, man, when their frequencies are high and they get quiet, you figure out what the fuck it is that makes them do that and just sit with them, find out why their frequencies are high. My youngest nephew, I got dry erase boards and shit. So I'm kicking it with him. And he active. He just keep moving. He don't want to like, you know what I'm saying? You try to pick him up. You know, everybody, oh, let me hold the baby. You try to pick him up. He, get off me. Like, he like, yo, move, get out. But he runs and he wants to draw. He wants to play. So I got my dry erase now. He fucked up my dry erase markers because they the fine tip pen joints, bro. And he's a kid. So I'm not too mad, but I'm mad. You feel me? So I gave him a dry erase board and I gave him the markers and said, hey, here, have at it. That little boy got quiet. I didn't hear no screams. I didn't hear nothing. I was like, I just went and I peeked at him. And then I just actually sat with him. And I just let him, he didn't say nothing. He didn't even acknowledge my presence while I was there. He just kept drawing and coloring, switching, picking stuff up, drawing and coloring, erasing, drawing, coloring again. It's like, this is what I want to draw, but this ain't it. I see it in my head, but I don't see it here. I got to, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, he stayed quiet. His vibration was low as hell, but his frequency was high as fuck. And he was drawing a whole bunch of shit. You feel me? Our kids need that freedom. Kids need that freedom. Let their frequencies be what they're going to be and start to teach them and control and how to harness their frequencies. Right? Otherwise, you're just going to get high vibrational motherfuckers with low frequencies and they're going to become adults who struggle with life. Go figure. But anywho, I'm going to go into there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables and I'm going to see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.